Deuteronomy 30.
I have told you everything the Lord your God will do for you. And I've also told you the curses he will put on you if you reject him. He will scatter you in faraway countries. But when you realize that he is punishing you, return to him with all your heart and soul, and start obeying the commands I have given to you today. Then he will stop punishing you and treat you with kindness. He may have scattered you to the farthest countries on earth, but he will bring you back to the land that had belonged to your ancestors, and make you even more successful and powerful than they ever were. You and your descendants are stubborn, but the Lord will make you willing to obey him and love him with all your heart and soul, and you will enjoy a long life. Then the Lord your God will remove the curses from you and put them on those enemies who hate and attack you. You will again obey the laws and teachings of the Lord, and he will bless you with many children, large herds and flocks, and abundant crops. The Lord will be happy to do good things for you, just as he did for your ancestors. But you must decide once and for all to worship him with all your heart and soul, and to obey everything in the book of God's law. You know God's laws, and it isn't impossible to obey them. His commands aren't in heaven, so you can't excuse yourselves by saying,
"How can we obey the Lord's commands? They're in heaven, and no one can go up to get them, then bring them down and explain them to us."
And you can't say,
"How can we obey the Lord's commands? They're across the sea, and someone must go across, then bring them back and explain them to us."
No, these commands are nearby, and you know them by heart. All you have to do is obey. Today, I am giving you a choice. You can choose life and success, or death and disaster. I am commanding you to be loyal to the Lord, to live the way he has told you, and obey his laws and teachings. You are about to cross the Jordan River and take the land that he is giving you. If you obey him, you will live and become successful and powerful. On the other hand, you might choose to disobey the Lord and reject him. So I'm warning you that if you bow down and worship other gods, you won't have long to live. Right now I call the sky and the earth to be witnesses that I am offering you this choice. Will you choose for the Lord to make you prosperous and give you a long life? Or will he put you under a curse and kill you? Choose life. Be completely faithful to the Lord your God. Love him and do whatever he tells you. The Lord is the only one who can give life, and he will let you live a long time in the land that he promised to your ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Deuteronomy 31. Moses again spoke to the whole nation of Israel.
I am 120 years old, and I am no longer able to be your leader. And besides that, the Lord your God has told me that he won't let me cross the Jordan River. But he has promised that he and Joshua will lead you across the Jordan to attack the nations that live on the other side. The Lord will destroy those nations, just as he destroyed Sihon and Og, those two Amorite kings. Just remember, whenever you capture a place, kill everyone who lives there. Be brave and strong. Don't be afraid of the nations on the other side of the Jordan. The Lord your God will always be at your side, and he will never abandon you.
Then Moses called Joshua up in front of the crowd and said,
Joshua, be brave and strong as you lead these people into their land. The Lord made a promise long ago to Israel's ancestors that this land would someday belong to Israel. That time has now come, and you must divide up the land among the people. The Lord will lead you into the land. He will always be with you and help you, so don't ever be afraid of your enemies."
Moses wrote down all of these laws and teachings and gave them to the priests and the leaders of Israel. The priests were from the Levi tribe, and they carried the sacred chest that belonged to the Lord. Moses told these priests and leaders,
"Each year the Israelites must come together to celebrate the festival of shelters at the place where the Lord chooses to be worshipped. You must read these laws and teachings to the people at the festival every 7th year, the year when loans do not need to be repaid. Everyone must come, men, women, children, and even the foreigners who live in your towns. And each new generation will listen and learn to worship the Lord their God with fear and trembling, and to do exactly what is said in God's law."
The Lord told Moses,
"You will soon die. So bring Joshua to the sacred tent, and I will appoint him the leader of Israel."
Moses and Joshua went to the sacred tent, and the Lord appeared in a thick cloud right over the entrance to the tent. The Lord said,
"Moses, you will soon die, but Israel is going into a land where other gods are worshipped, and Israel will reject me and start worshipping these gods. The people will break the agreement I made with them, and I will be so furious that I will abandon them and ignore their prayers. I will send disasters and suffering that will nearly wipe them out. Finally, they will realize that the disasters happened because I abandoned them. They will pray to me, but I will ignore them because they were evil and started worshipping other gods. Moses and Joshua, I am going to give you the words to a new song. Write them down and teach the song to the Israelites. If they learn it, they will know what I want them to do, and so they will have no excuse for not obeying me. I am bringing them into the land that I promised their ancestors. It is a land rich with milk and honey, and the Israelites will have more than enough food to eat. But they will get fat and turn their backs on me and start worshipping other gods. The Israelites will reject me and break the agreement that I made with them. When I punish the Israelites and their descendants with suffering and disasters, I will remind them that they know the words to this song, so they have no excuse for not obeying me. I will give them the land that I promised, but I know the way they are going to live later on."
Moses wrote down the words to the song right away, and he taught it to the Israelites. The Lord told Joshua,
"Be brave and strong. I will help you lead the people of Israel into the land that I have promised them."
Moses wrote down all these laws and teachings in a book. Then he went to the Levites who carried the sacred chest and said,
"This is the book of God's law. Keep it beside the sacred chest that holds the agreement the Lord your God made with Israel. This book is proof that you know what the Lord wants you to do. I know how stubborn and rebellious you and the rest of the Israelites are. You have rebelled against the Lord while I have been alive, and it will only get worse after I am gone. So call together the leaders and officials of the tribes of Israel. I will bring this book and read every word of it to you, and I will call the sky and the earth as witnesses that all of you know what you are supposed to do. I am going to die soon, and I know that in the future you will stop caring about what is right and what is wrong, and so you will disobey the Lord and stop living the way I told you to live. The Lord will be angry, and terrible things will happen to you."
Moses called a meeting of all the people of Israel so he could teach them the words to the song that the Lord had given him. And here are the words. Deuteronomy 32.
Earth and sky, listen to what I say. Israel, I will teach you. My words will be like gentle rain on tender young plants, or like dew on the grass. Join with me in praising the wonderful name of the Lord our God. The Lord is a mighty rock, and he never does wrong. God can always be trusted to bring justice. But you lie and cheat and are unfaithful to him. You have disgraced yourselves and are no longer worthy to be his children. Israel, the Lord is your Father, the one who created you. But you repaid him by being foolish. Think about past generations. Ask your parents or any of your elders. They will tell you that God Most High gave land to every nation. He assigned a guardian angel to each of them, but the Lord himself takes care of Israel. Israel, the Lord discovered you in a barren desert filled with howling winds. God became your fortress, protecting you as though you were his own eyes. The Lord was like an eagle teaching its young to fly, always ready to swoop down and catch them on its back. Israel, the Lord led you, and without the aid of a foreign god, he helped you capture the land. Your fields were rich with grain, olive trees grew in your stony soil, and honey was found among the rocks. Your flocks and herds produced milk and yogurt, and you got choice meat from your sheep and goats that grazed in Bashan. Your wheat was the finest, and you drank the best wine. Israel, you grew fat and rebelled against God your Creator. You rejected the mighty rock, your only place of safety. You made God jealous and angry by worshipping disgusting idols and foreign gods. You offered sacrifices to demons, those useless gods that never helped you, new gods that your ancestors never worshipped. You turned away from God your Creator. You forgot the mighty rock, the source of your life. You were the Lord's children, but you made him angry. Then he rejected you and said, "You are unfaithful and can't be trusted. So I won't answer your prayers. I'll just watch and see what happens to you." You worshipped worthless idols and made me jealous and angry. Now I will send a cruel and worthless nation to make you jealous and angry. My people, I will breathe out fire that sends you down to the world of the dead. It will scorch your farmlands and burn deep down under the mountains. I'll send disaster after disaster to strike you like arrows. You'll be struck by starvation and deadly diseases, by the fangs of wild animals and poisonous snakes. Young and old alike will be killed in the streets and terrified at home. I wanted to scatter you so no one would remember that you had ever lived. But I dreaded the sound of your enemies saying, "We defeated Israel with no help from the Lord." People of Israel, that's what the Lord has said to you. But you don't have good sense, and you never listen to advice. If you did, you could see where you are headed. How could one enemy soldier chase 1,000 of Israel's troops? Or how could 2 of theirs pursue 10,000 of ours? It can only happen if the Lord stops protecting Israel and lets the enemy win. Even our enemies know that only our God is a mighty rock. Our enemies are grapevines, rooted in the fields of Sodom and Gomorrah. The grapes they produce are full of bitter poison. Their wine is more deadly than cobra venom. But the Lord has written a list of their sins and locked it in his vault. Soon our enemies will get what they deserve. Suddenly they will slip, and total disaster will quickly follow. When only a few of the Lord's people remain, when their strength is gone and some of them are slaves, the Lord will feel sorry for them and give them justice. But first the Lord will say, "You ran for safety to other gods. Couldn't they help you? You offered them wine and your best sacrifices. Can't those gods help you now or give you protection? Don't you understand? I am the only God. There are no others. I am the one who takes life and gives it again. I punished you with suffering, but now I will heal you, and nothing can stop me. I make this solemn promise. Just as I live forever, I will take revenge on my hateful enemies. I will sharpen my sword and let it flash like lightning. My arrows will get drunk on enemy blood. My sword will taste the flesh and the blood of the enemy. It will kill prisoners and cut off the heads of their leaders. Tell the heavens to celebrate and all gods to bow down to the Lord, because he will take revenge on those hateful enemies who killed his people. He will forgive the sins of Israel and purify their land.
Moses spoke the words of the song so that all the Israelites could hear, and Joshua helped him. When Moses had finished, he said,
Always remember this song I have taught you today, and let it be a warning that you must teach your children to obey everything written in the book of God's law. The law isn't empty words. It can give you a long life in the land that you are going to take.
Later that day, the Lord said to Moses,
Go up into the Abarim mountain range here in Moab across the Jordan River valley from Jericho. And when you reach the top of Mount Nebo, you will be able to see the land of Canaan, which I am giving to Israel. Then you will die and be buried on the mountaintop, just as your brother Aaron died and was buried on Mount Hor. Both of you were unfaithful to me at Meribah Spring near Kadesh in the Zin desert. I am God, but there in front of the Israelites you did not treat me with the honor and respect I deserve. So I will give the land to the people of Israel, but you will only get to see it from a distance.